How I lost 75 pounds in just under 6 months. Hi there. My name is Juan Rademacher. I am a retired corporate executive who has become an expert dieter. I earned this dubious title because I've spent most of my adult life in a struggle with my weight. Before I got into my personal weight loss process, where I lost 75 pounds in just under 6 months, I had been, at various times through my adult life, attempting to lose weight mostly by using the calorie reduction approach. As most people know, using the calorie reduction method to lose weight is a very frustrating process to say the least. While it's true that this method works, it only works in the short term, because after we're done with the dieting process, it doesn't take long before we gain back all the weight that we have lost. Therefore, it is a very frustrating process to try and achieve permanent weight loss by this method. It simply doesn't work. After many years of on and off dieting, by pure chance I run into a weight loss plan that appeared quite promising. This was actually quite a few years ago, and it started one sleepless night when I stayed up longer than my usual bedtime. Since I couldn't sleep, I started watching whatever was on TV, and late into the night I landed on an infomercial, which normally I would just ignore, but something in it caught my attention, because the promoter was talking about what he called a tried and true weight loss method. Of course, in order to participate in this plan you had to sign up for his program, which I did. My motivation was not only my desire to lose weight, but the presenter's contention that this was a tried and true method used by bodybuilders for many years. At the time I was interested in bodybuilding mostly as a method of staying in shape and hopefully enhancing my muscle mass and appearance. The weight loss package that I signed up for came with a loose leaf binder that described how this weight loss method was supposed to be implemented, and a thorough explanation as to why it was claimed to work in every situation. I went to work on this diet, and after a week or so, I started noticing that I was actually starting to lose weight. I later learned that my initial rather fast weight loss was probably due mostly to shedding excess water retention. But it didn't matter to me, because it was encouraging to see my clothes getting looser and the scale starting to show a measurable weight reduction. When I first started this diet I did not have a specific weight loss goal in mind. I just wanted for my clothes to fit better and for my appearance to improve. This became evident after a couple of weeks, and by this point I was thoroughly hooked on this particular weight loss plan. So I continued as the weeks rolled on, sticking to this diet as closely as I could and re-examining how the method was supposed to work. I must admit that one reason it was fairly easy to continue on this diet is that I was not experiencing hunger. I was getting plenty to eat, and I felt good, so I was encouraged to continue. I consider this last statement to be a key factor that made it possible for me to lose 75 pounds in just under 6 months on this diet. I no longer have the printed binder that contained the diet instructions and explanations, because it was lost during one of our several home moves through the years. However, I have not lost the knowledge I gained through this experience, so I was able to hold my final weight loss for a period of well over 12 years. My starting weight was 235 pounds at a height of 5 feet 10.5 inches. So I looked definitely porky at that unhealthy weight. My final weight after the weight loss process was 160 pounds. At the time this was a good weight for my size. This is the weight I maintained plus or minus 1 pound for over 12 years. Specifics of this weight loss method. This diet emphasized eating protein as you might expect, since it was supposed to be based on what bodybuilders eat: limited fat, low calories, and low sugar carbohydrates. It also emphasized the need to eat 6 meals a day, because it was supposed to accelerate your metabolism. This last fact is strongly disputed by Dr. Jason Fung MD and others, who attribute today's obesity epidemic to the general practice in society of eating too many times per day. As time went by I became careless, not watching what I ate, and as you might expect I started to gain back the weight I had so proudly lost. In the end, I regained between 15 and 20 pounds of the weight I had lost during my successful dieting process. However, eventually I began to focus on my weight and appearance once again, and I went into another dieting process that brought me back to my target weight of 160 pounds. By this time I still retained my interest in weight loss, so I studied various popular diets at the time. What interested me most was the low carbohydrate diets and the keto diet, both of which have some similarity. For many of us, watching our weight and losing weight when needed is not a one-time process. Unfortunately, it has to continue pretty much indefinitely, because it's really all about changing your lifestyle as a way of maintaining your desired weight. At first this may sound like a discouraging proposition, namely that we must indefinitely watch our weight and watch what we eat. However, it is a reality that many of us must embrace. When you start to implement a lifestyle change and stick to it on an ongoing basis, until it becomes your established and accepted lifestyle going forward, it's not that hard at all. My plan going forward. I have now settled into an eating plan that concentrates on intermittent fasting, eating 2 meals a day, with very low carbs, trying to follow what is probably closest to the keto diet. This eating plan works well for me, although I must admit that staying away from carbs is my greatest struggle. I was raised in an environment where eating bread was the main ingredient of 2 meals per day. When you're raised like this, it is very hard to switch, and maintain a very low-carb diet. However, as the years go by and the effects of aging begin to be a factor that can't be ignored, I have become used to this eating mode. But it demands ongoing vigilance on my part. And yes, for me it is still a struggle even to this day. But I do it willingly and persistently, because otherwise I will have to contend with soon having to begin the weight loss process all over again. What I am now doing is to continue working on adopting a lifestyle that will maintain a healthy weight, and maintain healthy eating habits. That for me, has become my new reality. Mental conditioning. I have learned over the years of dieting that maintaining your weight is just as important as losing weight. I say this because I have learned that to maintain your weight you have to first train your mind in a way that helps you, and that is sustainable. There is nothing worse to my mind than the feeling that you will always and forever have to be on a diet. In the past, for me, the thought of dieting conjured up images of food deprivation, hunger and hunger pains. That's not only a miserable way to live, but it's also quite unnecessary. The difference is simply knowledge of how your body reacts to different foods and physical activity, and a commitment to stay at a healthy weight going forward. Therefore, over time I have been concentrating on learning how to control my weight, as much as in the process of weight loss itself. I wish I could say that this process becomes easier over time, and it does to a certain extent. The most important thing is to adopt a mindset that considers your weight as something to be watched to stay healthy, to look better, and to feel better. Therefore, for me, watching and maintaining my weight has become a game that I actually enjoy, and that I actually pride myself in, getting good at it, and improving my performance in this game as much as possible. We are all different, especially in our upbringing, and the habits we have learned and picked up as we grew up. This certainly applies to our eating habits. The trick is to find a way to make this work in your favor, rather than having it be something that hinders you and holds you back. I continue to have an interest in diet, nutrition, and a healthy lifestyle. So, I try to stay up to date and informed in the latest nutrition trends and diet trends. This helps me not only to maintain my weight but to provide me information that becomes useful in going forward without the stress and strain of continued weight loss efforts. I have learned over the years that it is just as important to learn the impact of your mind, of your thought process on your health and nutrition, as in the specifics about the science behind weight loss and health. Therefore, whenever I find out about a specialist who is proposing a new diet, I am not only interested in the scientific facts that he presents, but even more so I am interested in his personal experience with the implementation of his concepts, how he went about implementing his ideas, and what his results were. Maintaining a healthy weight is therefore an ongoing process of study and experimentation. If you can make this process a game, you can find inspiration and enjoyment in the whole process. This is sustainable as well as enjoyable if you try and make it so.